I wanted to take a moment to help equip you to be able to share your testimony. The Bible gives us some great examples of testimony when it talks about the woman at the well and how she had a conversation with Jesus and then went and told others, and many came to know the Lord because of that conversation and her testimony. The other is the blind man who was questioned and said, I don't know if he's a sinner or not, but what I do know is I was blind and now I can see. And I really like that example because as you start to share your testimony with people, sometimes they're going to ask you questions that you can't answer. They'll try to debate some items that really don't need to be debated. But in that process, you know that you were blind and you know that now you can see. That's as simple as it gets. Your testimony is something personal. It tells us in the Bible that we speak of things we know, but we testify to what we have seen. And so your testimony is something that you've been through, something that is relatable to you. It's a story that you can tell. And so when we do that, we want to think of it and break it up and organize it into three parts. First part would be what was life like before? The second part would be the conversion, and the third part would be your history after the conversion. So the first part is the story before. That's going to be what was important in your life. Who did you live for? Who did you substitute God for in your life? What was important to you? The second part, the conversion, is going to be how did God get your attention? How did he pull you close to him? What led you to understand that you needed to repent and believe, and that you needed a relationship with Jesus Christ? And of course, the third part is just what life's been like after that decision was made. So for me, that part is in the first part was I went to church every now and then, but when I went, I felt like I didn't fit in. Always felt like there was something more. As I got older, I tried to fill my heart with what was missing with sports, and as I got older, even other things other than sports. And then for me, my conversion was that when Samantha was pregnant with Gary, they asked us or told us there were some tests and health issues and wanted us to consider aborting the pregnancy. And so for the first time in my life, I wasn't in control. My whole life, I always felt if I got my hands on it, I could fix it, that I didn't need anybody else. But this time, I couldn't fix it. There was no way to do that. I was not in control. And I remember going to church that Sunday and hearing the pastor talk about how we weren't in control and how we needed to repent and believe and put Jesus Christ first in our life and to follow him. And I remember then, as I prayed through that the difference between knowing the stories of Jesus and having a relationship with Jesus Christ, and how that changed my life. And for that third part of what was life like afterwards, we want to give them a realistic view of that. We don't want them to think that you give your life to the Lord and everything's great from that point and nothing bad will ever happen to you. For me, it's been a hard 2 years. I've lost my brother, I've lost my mom. Samantha had cancer. But through all that, God's been glorified, and he's never left us, and we've been able to lean on him for strength to get through all that. So I encourage you to tell your story, share your testimony with other people. Write it down. Do your three: what was life like before, the conversion, and what life was like afterwards. Write it out, say it over and over again, and get used to it. And then I pray that God will put you in front of somebody that needs to hear your story, your personal story of what happened to you, because God will do that. He'll put that person in front of you that needs to hear what you went through. So write it down, practice it, and pray for that opportunity to share your testimony with others.